Hey, yo, what's good? Check it out. This your boy Elder Sensei, one half of the legendary Artifacts. You are right now in tune to my man Tim Einenkel at the library on rapstation.com. Let's get it popping, y'all. Artifacts. Peace, Elder Sensei. I'm out.
Australian MC Remi and Sensible J have collaborated together along with producer Dutch on their new album, Raw Times Infinity, an album which just won Australian Music Prize and will drop on April 14th of this year. Remi and Sensible J, welcome to the library with Tim Einenkel on rapstation.com.
Thanks for having us, man.
Good to be here, Tim.
I want to go with the first track, the title track of the album, which is the first track off Raw Times Infinity. It was one of those tracks that I played like 3 times because I was trying to figure out where the hook was. And I was like, am I missing something? So just, straight fire, and it kind of reminds me of an Eric B. and Rakim Juice, Another Ledge, where it's just like spitting and, whatever comes out. And if there happens to be a hook, then yeah, whatever. But if there isn't, then F it. So with this track, was that the plan going in, that you're just going to do a straight lyricist track, and if not, why did you guys decide on not having a hook on this track?
We're actually not closet fans, we're like open fans of the Roots. Like they're one of our biggest influences, both musically and vocally, and it's kind of our tribute to the Roots. On every one of our albums, they always do a straight rap track with Black Thought, Questo on drums, and then some sort of bass line in it. And that's what we've done on our... We've had like an album before this called Regular People-ish, and now Raw Times Infinity is like the debut album. But on both of those records, we've done a straight rap track, and we'll probably continue to do so as our tribute to them.
You won't have to listen to your boss or manager. You can make it on your own path and win. And when hit the shame all media, telling me that racial trash in the garbage bin. Got white people scared of the darker skin. Got dark people shaking like Parkinson. Out of frustration, cause they didn't do nothing. This makes sense like my man. And Tony Abbott and the government need to get on the boat to Iraq.
Is that hard? I mean, for you as a writer, is that hard lyrically to do? I mean, when you approach your music, do you approach it with the idea that you're going to have a hook, or do you, I guess, try to write as many non-hooky, is that a word? Non-hook tracks as possible?
I think it's all dependent on the song, you know what I mean? That one actually didn't take that long to write, because it was just in my mind, I just knew I just need to rap. And
it was decided from the start it was going to be just a straight rap track, and I just did the drums a couple of takes, and that was that. And then I told him, you got to do it in one take, because I read somewhere that Black Thought had done that on the Roots track Web. So you got to be able to do it in one shot with no edits. Yeah. And how many takes? 4? I think you got on the 4th?
I think it was the 4th. Yeah, it was the 4th. But yeah, that was sweet. Whereas, other songs where it's meant to be more poignant or more topical, you definitely have to sit down and probably focus more. But sometimes it's just fun to rap, just to rap,
Another track on the album, FOH, For Opinionated Humans, there's a reference in it of George Zimmerman, the Florida man who killed Trayvon Martin. Obviously, the reaction to Trayvon Martin's death was huge in the States. What was the reaction at the death of Trayvon Martin in Australia?
I guess it would depend who you ask. Definitely. I mean, a lot of Australia is very closed off, very isolated when it comes to any kind of global news. But a lot of my friends, especially people of colour, when something like that happens, it's an injustice the world round. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop being an injustice just because it happened in the States. Just like Boko Haram in Nigeria is an injustice, even though it's happening to Nigerian people. And so for me and my friends, it was just like, it was kind of terrible to see something like that unfold, even being disconnected from it. But the actual reaction, as far as like newsworthy or anything like that, it wasn't really that existent. You know what I mean? It was mostly through social medias like Twitter, because pretty much all of the US media I follow or US artists that I follow, their hip hop, they were obviously disgusted by what had happened, and that was flooding my newsfeed, and therefore I was disgusted by what happened.
2 tracks that really stood out to me which I listened to forever last night, back to back, was Ode to Ignorance, because you address issues that deal with race and immigration, and issues that we all understand. It's like one of those things, that those tracks that you can just close your eyes, not know that you're an Australian MC, and realize, all right, he's talking about it. He's talking about issues that happen in America. And then I really like the track Living, where you really go into unnecessary stress that we all go through to bust our asses for our bosses with little pay, and while they are able to get yachts and crap like that. Stuff we all have. What purpose, for both of you actually, what purpose does rap music serve to you? I mean, is it just like an art form to get stuff off your chest, or is it really you see it as your job to kind of speak for the voiceless?
It started off as just, something fun, a way of just getting it off my chest for myself anyway. The beginning of my rap knowledge kind of came out of Slum Village. I was listening to a lot of Fantastic Volume 1 and 2, and I loved it because it was more about the patterns, it was more about the rhythms, and as opposed to what was actually being said. It was about being more of an instrument than a vocalist. But then after Jay and I have been working together for a while, it kind of just became apparent that there was a lot of things in my own life and a lot of things in the community that surrounded us that were either injustices or things that just needed to be said. And it kind of felt, especially when you're starting to gain any kind of notoriety, even if it is small or large, it's kind of on you to then, I feel anyway, especially with the music that we make and the people that we listen to, from like Common, Mos Def, J Electronica, all these people handle their community in a way that, whether it's uplifting or whether it's informative. And so it kind of felt like it was then my duty to kind of write more stuff like that, because there's, I felt like there was enough people saying stuff for like more of a party audience and all that stuff, which I still do, but there was enough of that already and not enough of what we were talking about.
Got it twisted. Maybe there was a class on how to think and I missed it. But I have got so many homies going bold as Moby, cause they're stretched out like got them fisted. We f***ed around in school cause they taught nothing of interest. We would have failed everything from math to piss test. Some of these kids left to start street science, got charged like Matador for trying to shift methamphetamine, on some Heisenberg. Now they're grown, smoking at home, flying some bird. Other kids dropped out and decided to start building, working with hands like their colleague is German. But
Sensible J, obviously, when Remi spits lyrics, it's easy for the listener to understand his mission in the track. How, as a producer, do you tell us, or do you make it? How do you make it that we know what your mission in the track? Is it? I mean, obviously the lyrics help, but if you were to take his lyrics out and you had your own mission of the track, how would you tell us this isn't the mission of my track?
Minor chords, basically. I don't think there's one major chord on the whole album, which then that kind of sets the tone for whatever Rem wants to talk about. Like Living's got it's all minor chords played, so it kind of instantly is a motive. Or a song like Tyson's led by like thumping drums, so it's kind of like you got to bring the energy in. Hence the title Tyson came out. Yeah, I do a lot of beats, and we tend to pick the ones that, without lyrics on them, already have a sort of picture of what he can write to on it, I guess. I've got a ton that just sit on there, which are kind of nothing in feeling-wise. Like there's no feels from it, but the ones Rem picks are, instantly emotive, rhythmically or musically.
Going back to Slum Village, I think that's like a perfect example of how some beats can just carry emotion in them. Like it doesn't actually have to have that much writing over it. It's like you can just you feel something in that song. And a lot of the beats that Jay has, it might not be anything like what I was going to write to it, but they would never write stuff that would fit their beats. Like, Fall in Love is like some beautiful, beautiful stuff, and then what they're rapping about is like, raw stuff out of Detroit. But the hook and the actual, the whole vibe of the song is something that's way more beautiful and something like more picturesque than what they can actually say on it.
So I've had this weird obsession. I'm noticing a certain reference that a lot of American MCs do, and that's always like a Stevie Wonder reference. Okay. And I believe in Living, you do that. Yeah. You say, even Stevie can see that it's nonsense to work for the boss to get new Beamers. Why the Stevie Wonder reference, and kind of what influence has he had in your music?
Stevie is like part of my childhood, you know, like Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye. That was like a few of the huge influences just as a child. Whether it actually directly influenced our music now, which it probably definitely has, but yeah, it was just because of that. And like, you know, I don't know anybody who doesn't love Stevie, you know. But then on top of that, obviously also being like, my whole knowledge is based off hip hop, and I've done as much of my history as I can say I can to this point. There's still plenty more to do, but you know, going through that stuff gets stuck in your psyche, and it's, you know, it's also fun to kind of try and flip an obvious metaphor sometimes in a different way, like a new light. It might be in a way, like obviously everybody talks about how, you know, like the visually impaired, but they also like talk about bigging up Stevie as well, you know, like, because he's someone that obviously can feel, like, you know, probably feel stronger than a lot of us can actually see. And, you know, that's why it's fun, I guess, doing that kind of stuff and flipping around.
We're speaking with Remi and Sensible J. They have a new album coming out along with Dutch called For All Times Infinity. Drops April 14th. I want to get to another track of the album, Tyson, which is Euro to Mike Tyson. And in the video, I think it's essential to watch, because in the video, it's you training as if you're a boxer, which seems really hard to do. So what lessons have you taken from Mike Tyson and or boxing, which you are able to use in any aspect of the art that you do?
Bob and weave. yeah, stick and move. I don't know, I guess it's just that animalistic energy that Tyson really had when you're just rapping to rap, you know, like just to like get through and like, you know, come through with your hardest stuff, and that energy, when it doesn't necessarily need to be covering a topic, it doesn't necessarily need to be bigging up anything, it's just coming out and it's just rap, and you can feel that energy. That's something that Tyson was a master of. Like, you hear him talking about staring down his opponents and just waiting and like non-stop staring at them, and as soon as their eyes broke from his, even if it was for a split second, he knew he had them, you know. And it's kind of trying to get that, like, you know, I can't lose mentality for certain songs, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you got to be humble on other stuff, and you got to kind of show dimensions and all that. But yeah, sometimes you just got to come with it, and I feel like Tyson always did that till he met Holyfield,
and then he bit his ear. When reading up on you and the artists that influenced you, one artist that really stood out to me was J-Dilla, and J-Dilla really stands out because J-Dilla is the producer that people don't realize they're listening to a J-Dilla track. Like, you talk to someone like, what's your favorite song? And they're like, oh, I like Dilla, so blah blah blah. And you're like, oh, that's J-Dilla. And then he goes, oh, I like, Tribe, that's J-Dilla. You know, so when did you first hear Dilla? And question for both of you, what influence has he had on your art form?
I think I first heard him, I didn't know it was him, on Janet Jackson, Got Till It's Gone, because my neighbour had a big stereo hooked up to their television, and they had a bit of money, so they had MTV, which was rare in Australia. And I always wondered what that weird bubbly bass noise was in, because I hadn't heard that before on a track. And then maybe 3 years later, I bought the Roots Things Fall Apart, and track 6, Dynamite, Questlove on the liner notes, wrote, produced by JD from Detroit. Most people probably heard him but never knew it was him, exactly what you said, with Farside. Runnin' was one of my favourite songs, didn't know it was Dilla. Janet Jackson, you mentioned, Got Till It's Gone, didn't know it was Dilla. And a couple of Busta Rhymes joints, I like those songs, didn't know it was Dilla. And he goes, if you're a fan of the Roots, go buy Fantastic Too. So I did what he said, went and bought that, and then changed my beat life from then. Because how's this dude program drums, make it sound like a drummer, like a real drummer with imperfections, and the beat sort of hops a bit different to most other people. So biggest influence on my production, as in to try and make all the program drums sound like it's a real drummer, and the bubbly bass synths, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, 2000 would have been when I heard. Rem?
I don't know the exact date. We actually only figured this out the other day. What's that Busta joint? Everybody Get High? The Dilla, I think that, yeah. So I heard that at school. I would have been for like 15 or something, maybe 14, 15. And I heard this Busta joint, and I've been listening to a lot of Busta at that time, but this was the one joint. I just didn't know where to find it. I couldn't get it, but it was my favorite joint. And then I actually only realized a couple weeks ago Jay played it on his computer. I'm like, oh, this is like got to be the first Dilla joint that I heard, and I didn't know exactly that. And then, you know, I would have probably gone through like years of just hearing his joints around and not knowing again, like, you know, whether it was De-La, the remix of Stakes is High. I'd heard that like a long time before. Definitely would have heard Janet Jackson, all that. But then when I started hanging out with Jay, he gave me the Slum Village first 2 records, Fantastic 1 and 2. And it was so weird because he just like, especially, you know, the beats were incredible, but from a rap standpoint, the pockets that these guys were picking to lay down, it just seemed like it was how it was meant to be. You know what I mean? They just do some stuff and it just doesn't make sense how it can fit that pocket, but they do that. And Dilla always seemed to me out of Slum Village just to be the strongest with the pockets, which is a big call to make because they were all incredible. But Dilla just had this way of, you know, whether it was cramming incredible amounts of words into like this pocket that shouldn't work, or just spacing it out so it was like having another hi-hat going on in the track. He was a massive influence on me like that, definitely.
Iggy Azalea obviously really introduced Americans to Australian hip hop, or an Australian rapper, yes, so to say. Let's not say. But the criticism, some of the criticism, like Rod Digger says, the criticism of Iggy Azalea is not that she's a white rapper that's doing what she does. It's more Rod Digger knows Australian artists, and what she says is that Iggy is representing a bastardized version of American hip hop, not essentially Australian hip hop. So what is the definition, or what is Australian hip hop if it's not Iggy Azalea?
Aussie hip hop is I don't know, it's becoming something else now. It's definitely and aside from Iggy, because I think Rod Digger's description is pretty accurate. There are other people that are doing that kind of US driven hip hop back at home, but not to the extent of Iggy, and not to obviously the success level of Iggy either. But you know, she made that decision, and I guess she's living with it right now. So Australian hip hop for a time has usually been like a lot more throwback kind of soul samples, a lot of guitar and the beats and stuff like that, and very, very true. Like when it comes to accent, it's very true to the native, like to the land. So sounding very ochre is the word. But of recent, it's become a little bit more like pop driven, like bigger songs, bigger hooks, and that's kind of been riding the charts, but still very sample based. And now it seems like there's kind of a turn coming in Australian hip hop, because it's been such a young, like, you know, like hip hop itself is quite young. So like, you know, an Australian version of it's even younger. So it's starting to get to that point where people are making more alternative kind of hip hops, I guess. Like dudes really doing what they feel like they want to do, whether that's, you know, more slowed down, chilled, minimalist stuff that's more, you know, based off like Detroit hip hop, or you know, more banging beats with like solid drum sounds. And then, you know, the flip side, yeah, some people are taking to that US market, you know what I mean? But it's more that it's starting to evolve now. I guess that's the most adequately I can put it. You got anything to say?
It's probably similar to here. Like people there want people just to be real with hip hop. And if Iggy didn't come here and do what she's doing here, if she did the same thing there, she would be getting called out the same from, not by me or Remi, but by people in the scene. Because I'm all about, you can do what you want, but you just got to then understand when the criticism comes back at you. But she's been here 7 years, so who knows? As in, this could be authentic to her, and it probably is. Yeah. She's been in America for the last 7 years of her life, so good on her for being successful, but she probably understands some of the backlash she's copying.
The new album is, as mentioned, your new album is Raw Times Infinity, and it drops April 14th. For you, it could be a different answer, obviously, for both of you, but which track on the album kind of best represents your overall mission of this album? I'm
going to say FOH because it handles it has like a little interjection of everything. It's just kind of like we're doing what we do, and that's all we know how to do. So, welcome to the party. If you like it, if you don't, that's cool. Just keep it moving. Two, it has like a few little political things just scattered in there, just as metaphors and stuff. But that's what I'm definitely trying to work on and do. It's got banging like raw drums, like raw sounding drums over electronic stuff, which is what a lot of our music sounds like, and it's got the bounce. You
stole my answer, so I'm gonna go with Nigerian sunrise, Melbourne sunset, because it's got some experimental sort of music. It's got the Afrobeat percussion that I borrowed from somewhere. It's got the political references. It's got the cool rap for sake of rapping stuff in it. And yeah, it's the most experimental song on there, I think, and that's my favourite sort of stuff. So hopefully we can push that more in the future. Yeah.
So of course, what's next, and then what's the best way for us to follow what you guys are doing, and of course then get the album when it comes out?
So next up, we're going back home, and then we roll to Europe. We're doing a bunch of festivals around there, and the Great Escape as well, which is like their South by. Then we come back to Melbourne, probably do some touring around Australia, then head back to Berlin for 2 months and work on new music, as well as doing a bunch of festivals over there. Maybe coming back to the States in August. It just depends on how everything rolls out, but that's hopefully what's going to happen. And in the meantime, like you said, the album Raw Times Infinity will be dropping April 14th. We have a new concept mixtape that we're working on, which will be dropped not long after, I don't think. And then after that, we're also working currently on our new next album, because we feel like that's just what needs to be done. And if you want to find us, you can find us on Twitter, which is at Remi, Remi Kolawole, Kolawole. And you can get us on Facebook, Remi Kolawole Music. And you can get us on SoundCloud or Remzilla 3000. And that's it.
New album is, as you mentioned, Raw Times Infinity, drops April 14th. Remi and Sensible J. Thank you so much for joining me on The Library with Tim, Ian, and Cal on rapstation.com.
Thank you for having us. It was awesome.
Thanks, Tim. Good question again.
Well, I get teeth marks off your sweetheart, and I got these nuts just for week. Step for the baddest mama jammer. Shake it around, I get this salmonella from these fresh chicks. I mean, they don't the best thing. Okay, I am the bestest kind of investment. Okay, I don't regret it. That's my message. You need a life lesson. Up with a rem kick. You're aiming for success, son. I'm destined. Beats by J. Smith. They call me Rem Weston. I play the foreign kid. How my school life bested. Now I'm known to kick it with the female. Desperate like egg shit. And turn the lights on. And someone touches me, catch a fight on. And I'm Tyson. Circa 88, get a bite, son. Pure dominance, I tell you that I'm fond of it. Think I'm a hold on the way and write all of my songs with it, huh? Call me the dawn of this, I'm fucking astonishing. Been smoking a lot of shit, chilling like astrologist now, huh? See you're playing lozenges now, you fucking suckers. I'ma show you all what I'm about. I'm about 5'9" with dark brown eyes. I'm about well-shaped thighs on well-shaped fine women. Ow, I'm about to tear it down, cause I'm all about burying the crowd in sound, huh? It's something so strong like a crowded house, huh? I got the whole town wilding out for hours, yeah. See they're playing owls when they hear me like, who the fuck I mean like, shit it is too cool. I'll make your head get to spinning like toots. I'm a fucking noodle headed for food losers, what up? And turn the lights on. And someone touches me, catch a fight on. And I'm Tyson. Circa 88, get a bite, son. And turn the lights on. And someone touches me, catch a fight on. And I'm Tyson. Circa 88, get a bite, son. Look, Mom, we did it. We went and lifted it up. Sensible J and Dutch, raising it up. Fire on the track, new motor one. Look, let's sum it up. I son them, they call them, they come on, they girls. I'm running them up. If you're dumb enough, go ahead and say something. I'm a track murderer, I'll leave you day done. mean it's that wild, man. It belongs in the X-Files, man. And I'm hot like Thailand, charged like Bison. Yeah, I never bystand, lead like Tyson's like this. And Jordan, and I'm done, this was the cinch for me. Sensible J and Dutch, yeah, they did the beat. I guess we did it again. I guess we killed it